talk about the subject of shame, because I recognize that shame has been uh, the biggest controller in my life. Um, I was ashamed of the way I looked, ashamed of my clothes, ashamed of the choices I was making in life. And so, what do you know about shame? You have
So
an experience with shame?
yes, I would say body shame is something I felt and I'm still working with so deeply. I was brought up in a very strict Christian religion that it was just like your body is this temple and anything you do you become dirty and gross, and for me shame, there's a difference between guilt and shame. Guilt, I could, I don't know, make out with somebody and I'm like, oh, that was probably a bad decision. But what it goes to shame is when I think I'm dirty and I
Hmm.
think I'm gross. There's a difference between like, oh, that was a bad decision, may not do that again, to I'm bad.
It's an
That
interesting thing. Do we? And people don't really talk about it a lot. We don't really talk about shame a lot, but it's sometimes it's the controlling factor. I know it has been in my life. Controlling factor in my life is that my shame does not allow me to fully express myself.
Now what are you doing with
I'm
that?
going to just take you through a little story. A teacher came by in Sunday school. She said, "Michael, I want you to read the next line of your Sunday school book." And I was terrified because everybody had read. It was my turn, and I was trying to read, and I was stumbling over words. And she said, "Boy, it's a shame you can't read." So what did I make that mean? What did I make that mean when she said that to me? I made it meant that I can't do this, and I should know how to do this.
Did you feel broken? And if you're not being able to read meant you were broken, then what?
It shut me down. Shame will shut you down.
Shame. Yeah, it does. It dims us. It I almost stopped feeling my own body because of shame, right? It was like you dirty whore. Right? It's just like this awful like I just even now it's difficult for me to accept like hugs from people. I'm always like, yeah, that's really sweet. I'm not very affectionate. I don't like being touched. It's just like you're dirty. Not dirty. I don't feel that way, but I'm starting to step in to letting that go because I am gorgeous. I've never felt pretty. I am strong. I've given birth to three beautiful children who fed off my body, and my body fed them and gave them life. Like, that's really amazing. And I'm not tall and awkward, which I felt like for a long time. Yeah, it's just a big thing to still get over because I did take it to mean something about me. I'll tell you a story. I was in high school and we had these speakers come in and they're like, yeah, your virginity is like a gift that you give to your spouse. And girls, that is in a pretty box with nice wrapping paper. And every time you kiss somebody, think about somebody, have sex with somebody, do whatever with somebody who's not your husband, this present is nothing but like a tattered old box of ripped up paper. And so that's what you want to give somebody on your wedding day, ladies? This tattered old nasty box that's been wrapped, rewrapped, and ripped up. I'm like, Jesus, like, well, I guess I'm a mess already. So what's the point? I just was, oh, if I could go back, I would tell that girl, it's bullshit. This is
Mhm.
control and it's not true that you are beautiful and you're sensual. And that is a gift from God, not to be ashamed of. And you didn't do anything wrong.
It's almost like as babies, we come in this world where these grown-ups shame us, and then they pass down to their children, and then you got children who shame other children. And it's all about what you said, is to make me feel like there's something's wrong with me. You're not reading well enough. You should be ashamed of yourself. Your clothes are not clean enough. You should be ashamed of yourself. You made a mistake. You should be ashamed of yourself. It's like this control thing that human beings use to destroy other human beings. And when you look at it, shame and guilt sort of goes in together. You know, I think guilt is when you feel you've done something, that you should be ashamed of. You know what I mean? Where
Right.
the shame is something that is, where do you go from there?
I think shame is something you're carrying, right? Guilt is something I can let go of, like, whatever. Shame is in me and it's like eating me alive. Do you think so? You and I both have believe in God, right? God,
Mhm.
anybody can call it whatever they want. Does God teach shame? Does God want us to be ashamed? Is God ashamed of us?
Mm.
Did God create us to be ashamed of ourselves? I don't think so, because it
Mm.
goes against everything I believe God is, which is just pure love,
Mhm.
no judgment.